Hello and welcome to the first Algebra 1 lesson of the semester. We're going to start out with Chapter 1, which is expressions, equations, and functions. If you look in Google Classroom under Chapter 1, there's going to be a blank notes packet that you are welcome to print out if you do have access to a printer. If not, then just go ahead and take some notes on a separate sheet of paper. Whenever we're able to go back to in-person, I will print the packets for you, and you'll have those available to you for when you need them. So getting started, and also just to mention this too, on the website, the Google Classroom website, under Chapter 1, there's going to be a notes packet key. So you are free to go ahead and check that out if you happen to miss any of the notes, you can't keep up. There's also going to be sections of the notes that I'm going to leave for you to try for practice, so you can go back and check your answers on Google Classroom. So here we go, let's dive in. So we're going to start with evaluating expressions. So our first part of this is the substitution property. So if A is equal to B, then you can replace A anytime you see a B in an expression. So for example, we have evaluate A, B squared plus C, when A is equal to 2, B is equal to 4, and C is equal to 7. So all we're going to do there is we're going to substitute the values in. So because we know A is equal to 2, I'm going to write down 2. And then we know that B is 4. So I have 2 times 4 squared plus 7. And then we just go through and we use order of operations to simplify that. So I'd be doing my exponents first by GEMDAS. So grouping, exponent, multiplication, division, addition, subtraction. So 2 times 16 plus 7, which is 39. So the most important rule in algebra is to put parentheses around negative numbers when substituting them into an expression. So in that previous example, we did not have to do any of that, but we will soon. And the reason it's important to do that is you don't want to confuse it for a subtraction sign. You want to know that it's a negative sign, not a subtraction sign, because unfortunately, whoever created those rules did not really distinguish well between subtraction and negative. And it goes around negative numbers. So evaluate 3x squared minus 4x when x is equal to negative 2. So we're going to take 3 times negative 2 squared minus 4 times negative 2. And notice how I did the parentheses. If I hadn't done the parentheses, just to show you, it would look like 3 minus 2 squared minus 4 minus 2. So just notice how that it's not very clear there that those are multiplication instead of subtraction. So that's why it's so important. So we'll go through and simplify this. So this is going to be 3 times 4 minus 4 times negative 2. So that's going to be plus 8. And then if we simplify that, it's 12 plus 8, which is 20. Okay, so I'm going to let you try the more examples part. I'm going to have you try some of those on your own, and then you can check your answers on the key. We will do one of these together, so we'll go ahead and let's do the last one, number 4. But 1 through 3, go ahead and do those on your own just for practice, and then you can check your answers in the key that is posted in Google Classroom. Okay, so we've got a negative of negative 3 squared minus 3 times negative 5 times negative 3. So again, very important to add those parentheses anytime we have a negative. So we'll go through and simplify. So we have negative of negative 3 squared. So negative 3 squared is positive 9, but then we're multiplying it by a negative. So it's going to be negative 9 minus 3 times minus 5, which is positive 15, times negative 3 is going to be negative 45. And then if I go through and simplify that, I'm going to get negative 54. Okay, so continuing on, we'll go ahead and look at the other side of this page. And we'll do a few of these together. So we'll do number 7 together, and then I will leave number 8 for you to try on your own and check your answers on Google Classroom to make sure that you're understanding. Okay, so what we're going to do is we're going to plug in 2 for x. So we've got 2 squared minus 2 times 2 minus 2. So you got to be really careful there with those double negatives. Minus negative 3 cubed. All right, so we have a lot going on there. So we'll go through and start simplifying that expression. So what we're going to do is we're going to go ahead and multiply out our exponents to start out. So I'm going to have 4 minus, and then if I go ahead and simplify those parentheses there, 2 minus a negative 2 is really 2 plus 2. So that's 4 minus 2 times 4 minus negative 3 cubed. So negative 3 cubed, negative 3 times negative 3 is positive 9, times negative 3 is negative 27. So it comes out to minus negative 27. So that double negative would make it a plus 27. And then we go through and simplify. So we've got 4 minus 8 plus 27. And if you combine like terms there, you get 23. So that is our answer to part A. Part B, I wrote a little too big there, but that's okay. I'll come down here since you're going to try number 8 on your own. So on part B, same expression, we just have some different numbers representing the variables this time. So I'm going to start out plugging in the numbers. So I'd have negative 3 squared minus 2 times negative 3 minus 4 minus negative 1 cubed. So we've got 9 minus 2 times negative 7 plus 1. So that's 9 plus 14 plus 1 is equal to 24. And that is number 7. So try number 8 on your own. Check your work on Google Classroom. And then I'm going to go ahead and switch. And also number 5 and 6. We'll go ahead and do 5 together real quick. I missed that. And then I'll let you try 6 on your own. So coming back to 5, we're going to go ahead and plug in our values for A and B. So I've got 3 squared plus 4 squared over 3 minus 4. So if I go through and simplify, that's 9 plus 16 over negative 1, which is 25 divided by negative 1, or negative 25. All right, so we've got that first section done there. So the next piece that we're going to look at for today is going to be order of operations. So we're going to go ahead and flip to that one. Okay, there we go, order of operations. So I am sure that you have done order of operations at some point in your math career. It's very, very common in middle school, but this is just for you to review and to remind you of a few things with order of operations. So I know for many of you, you haven't been doing regular school for quite a few months. So order of operations is just a way for you to simplify an expression. So I'm just going to say the definition is order in which you simplify an expression. And remember that an expression has no equal sign, and an equation does have an equal sign. Okay, and the typical order is some teachers say PEMDAS, some say GEMDAS. Either one's fine. I think GEMDAS is the more correct term in my opinion. So G stands for grouping symbols, so that includes things like parentheses, brackets, absolute value. E stands for exponents, M is multiplication, D is division, A is addition, S is subtraction. And then just one thing to note is that G and E just go in order. Multiplication and division, it's from left to right. So if division occurs before multiplication, left to right, you do that first. And same thing with addition and subtraction. So I typically like to write it like this just to make that super clear. And then absolute value is a number's distance from 0. So I'm just going to abbreviate with the number sign. And it is always going to be positive. And the reason for that is that distance is positive. So you're never going to say, I ran -2 miles today. It's always going to be positive. So absolute value is represented by those bars, as you can see around the -13. So all I do is I think, how far is -13 from 0? Well, it's a distance of 13. And then here, same idea, we have absolute value of -12 plus absolute value of 15. So this is really positive 12 plus 15, which is 27. Absolute value of 15 minus 3. So I would solve 15 minus 23. I would solve that, which is -8. And then take the absolute value of -8, which is 8. Absolute value of 21 is just 21. 21 minus 17, that is the absolute value of 4, which is just 4. This one here would be 24 minus 15. And if you simplify, that's 9. So I will let you try the rest of those problems on your own and then check your answers in Google Classroom. Okay, and then we'll go ahead and look at order of operation examples. So remember that we are following GEMDAS, and let's just remind ourselves of that. So M and D are equivalent and A and S are equivalent, and work left to right. So looking at that first expression, we would want to look for grouping or parentheses, which we have a ton of that going on. So we always want to start with the innermost parentheses. So that would be this right here, the 7 minus 4. And I'm going to go really slow and show every step in detail, but you can, of course, do this quicker if you're really comfortable with order of operations. Okay, so we did that. So then the next thing would be grouping still, because we still have to deal with that. And we're looking for the innermost parentheses. So that 3 is in parentheses, so we need to do the 3 squared. So that's 5 times 9. So we still have one more set of grouping, which is 5 times 9. So 135 divided by 45. And then solving that, that comes out to 3. Okay, so I'm going to let you try number 14 and 15 on your own and then check your answers. We'll go ahead and do 16 together because that one's kind of tough with lots of stuff going on. So again, we're going to start with grouping. So I'm going to have 12. I'm going to have my grouping, and I'm going to start with that innermost parentheses, which is the 9 plus 4 squared. So I've got 30 minus 9 plus 4 squared is 9 plus 16, which is 25. Okay, and then that's going to be over. We can go ahead and take the absolute values. Those are considered grouping. That's 10 minus 6. All right, so then from there we want to still continue to get rid of this parentheses, this brackets that we have going on. So that's going to be 12 times 5 when we simplify over, I'll go ahead and simplify the bottom. So 10 minus 6 is 4. So that is 60 over 4, which is 15. And that's how you would do that one. Okay, so we'll go ahead and stop right there for now for this first lesson here today, and we'll see you next time.